Hi everybody, so tonight I'm making a sweet potato topped shepherd's pie, and I thought I would share this recipe with you. As again, it's very simple, it's hearty, it's perfect. I love shepherd's pie anyway at this time of year. It's complete comfort food, and I really like sweet potatoes, and using that as a topping. You can use a mixture of sweet and white potatoes. It's a good way to introduce perhaps sweet potatoes, but I really like this combination, and I make my shepherd's pie, the meat mixture, slightly differently when I'm doing a sweet potato topping. So I thought I'd share with you. So I'll run through the ingredients, then I'll get everything started and kind of take you with me on that journey to build the shepherd's pie. So first thing you need is a package of mince. As you know, we use turkey mince for just about everything here, but you could use pork mince, you could use lamb or beef, you could use corn mince if you wanted a veggie version. So whatever mince takes your fancy, really. You want about a 400 to 500 gram pack or a pound pack. A couple of carrots, which you'll chop up small to mix in. A pepper, which again I'll chop, and it can be any colour. I just happen to have a red one that needed using. An onion, again chopped up. I'm just using a little bit of sweet corn. I took some sweet corn with me for what I had for lunch today at work, but didn't need the whole can, so I'm just going to use what's left in there just to use it up. And that's the beauty of this sort of meat sauce based dish. You can throw in anything. You could add courgettes, definitely, if you had some of those left over in the fridge. You can really add some frozen peas, is quite common in a shepherd's pie, but there's really not any rules with this. I'm going to chop up a few mushrooms to put in there, as I like mushrooms in the meat sauce. I think they add an extra layer of kind of a meatiness to the sauce. And seasoning wise, I'm going to use some garlic. I'll use quite a bit of garlic, probably 2 good teaspoons of the chopped garlic to give it some flavour. I'm then going to use chilli powder and rosemary as my 2 main seasonings. Salt and pepper, some tomato puree, a couple of good squirts of tomato puree, and a little bit of passata. So I won't be using a whole carton or a whole jar of passata, just enough to give it that sort of gravy consistency. Now for this, I'm not using a stock cube. You could use one if you wanted to, but because I'm going with the chili flavour profile, I'm not using a stock cube. And then for the topping, I've just got a bag of sweet potatoes, which I will cut up and get on to boil. You could also steam them, you could also roast them, like bake them, and scoop out the potato, whichever is easiest for you. And when those are cooked, I'll combine them with a little bit of butter, a little bit of salt, and again, a little bit of chili powder, just to add a different kind of flavour profile. So that's the plan. I'm going to get the vegetables all chopped up, get the meat and vegetables on. So first thing I'm going to do is put the meat, the vegetables and the garlic in to get them browning up, and I'll probably let them cook for about 10-15 minutes to make sure the vegetables are cooked through and the meat is nicely cooked. Then I'll add the rest of the seasonings and the tomato mixture and just give that a few minutes to combine together. While all that's doing, I'll cook the sweet potatoes and then combine everything together into a casserole casserole dish, to pop it in the oven for a few minutes. So I'll take you with me on the journey as we start to develop this recipe. So there is the meat and the vegetables all just cooking away. A few more minutes. I want to let that cook before I add in the tomatoey parts and the rest of the seasoning. And then over here I've got sweet potatoes chopped up and just about to come to a boil. Now the thing with sweet potatoes, you can steam them, you could bake them as I said, and then scoop out the potato. If you boil the sweet potatoes, just remember that a sweet potato is not an orange potato. They have a slightly different structure to a normal potato, and if you overboil a sweet potato, when you go to mash it, they'll just disintegrate into next to nothing, and you won't have enough to top your shepherd's pie. So you want to keep them with some texture to them, a little bit of bite to them, so that when you mash them up with the butter and the seasonings, it's a nice kind of meaty mixture almost, not just a sloppy mess. So you have to be really careful if you're boiling them. I'm probably only going to give them about 10 to 12 minutes. Then I'll check them. If they need a couple more minutes, I'll give them a couple more, but that's probably all they'll need. They're quite good sized chunks in there, but that's still probably all they'll need because they take on more water than a normal potato does. So yeah, I'm going to get those boiled. I'm going to get the tomatoes and seasoning added to the meat mixture, and then I'll come back and show you when it's all almost ready to put together. Okay, so there is the meat mixture. So I added to the pan that I showed you previously some chili powder, about a teaspoon or so of chili powder, some dried rosemary, about half a teaspoon of that. I added 2 good squirts of tomato puree, so probably about 2 tablespoons, and then I added a 1/4 cup each of tomato passata and water, a little bit of salt and pepper, and just let that all bubble away while the potatoes were cooking. So then in here I've got sweet potatoes which I've mashed with a little bit of butter, about a tablespoon of butter, a sprinkle of salt, and about another half a teaspoon or so of chili powder to give it a kick. So I'm going to put the sweet potato on top of the meat mixture, and I'm just going to pop that into a 180 degree oven, 180C degree oven for about 10 or 15 minutes, just to sort of let the top of the sweet potatoes just start to crisp up a little bit. Could put cheese on it. I'm not going to put cheese on this one, but you could if you wanted to. And then I'm going to make up a little bit of gravy to serve with it. Not going to do extra vegetables, as there's lots of vegetables in the meat mixture. We've got carrots, peppers, mushrooms, onions, corn. We've got the tomato passata, so plenty of vegetables in the dish already, so I'm not doing extra vegetables on the side tonight, but you could if you wanted to. So once it's been in the oven, I'll come back and show you the finished product. So there is the finished shepherd's pie. It's just been in the oven for about 15 minutes, just until the top just starts to kind of not even crisp up, but just go a little bit firmer across the top. And I'm going to try to get this out of here one-handed. There we go, you can see all of the vegetables and the meat underneath there. A little bit of sauce from the tomatoey passata that we put in with a little bit of water. Put all those vegetables in there. Really healthy, comforting, warming, perfect winter night dinner, and just a little bit of a change from a regular shepherd's pie. So we're off to enjoy this, and I hope this is one that you'll give a try.